Welcome, Professor.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to be going over X-Men Days of Future Past, based upon the comic of the same name. Now this film takes a few embellishments from the comic book storyline and the animated series episode. It's a sequel to X-Men First Class from 2011, and it's the first time we have the original cast of the X-Men and the young prequel cast joined together in one film. This also marks the return of Bryan Singer in the director's chair. Pretty much, it proves that if Bryan Singer did X-Men 3, it would have been awesome. After a few hit films, we also had a downward spiral of the X-Men series, starting with X3 The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And when First Class came out, I was really disappointed to see that they were going to reboot it with a younger cast. I thought they were going to start from scratch. Well, they really undersold the movie, because when I went to go see it, I was surprised that Sebastian Shaw was in the film, but also that it was actually tied a bit to the original X-Men. And that caught me off guard, because I love the original two X-Men films, and I had no idea they're going to tie it into that. Anyways, you can see my excitement when they announced that they're going to have the original cast with this new younger cast in one film. Originally, Matthew Vaughn was supposed to come back as director, but he thought that Days of Future Past served more as a conclusion to a trilogy rather than a follow-up to First Class. Amidst his exit, we had Bryan Singer return to the helm, and this is a fantastic X-Men film. Just from the opening, you see this dark, bleak, dismal future where mutants are eradicated, Sentinels have put them in concentration camps and have killed them, and even killed people who carry the mutant gene who are humans. It carries some similarities to the comic storyline, although certain events are different, characters are not featured, and Mystique tries to kill a different person with Bolivar Trask instead of Senator Kelly and Professor Xavier. So it does take a few changes, in addition to Kitty Pryde not going back into the past. In this film, it's Hugh Jackman as Logan, Wolverine. So Kitty Pryde does not go back into the past at all. She's not even born in this timeline. But we do get her featured here, played by Ellen Page. There's also a Rogue cut of the film where Rogue is introduced again. Although both versions are great, I'm going to be going over the theatrical cut. And yeah, I love this movie. You see that opening, and right in the intro, we have John Ottman's score return of the X-Men theme. And that's when you know you're in for a ride. I got chills when I first heard that. I never thought I would hear that in a theater again, but it was amazing. And yeah, pretty much this film involves Mystique killing this man named Bolivar Trask, who basically created the Sentinel program to hunt and track down mutants, and later kill them. Well, back in the 70s, she murdered Bolivar Trask, and it started a course of humans going against mutants, hating mutants, and they use her DNA to make the Sentinels adapt to mutant powers, making them unstoppable. And that's what creates this dark future. So it's Wolverine's job, since his body is strong, can heal, he's the one sent back. They send his consciousness back to his past body to find Charles Xavier and Eric Lyncher and have them join forces and stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask. I love this. I love how they play around with the period of the 70s, much like they did with the 60s in First Class. But Professor Xavier is a far different person. He's dealing with issues. The X-Men have died off. It's only him and Hank McCoy alive. Magneto's imprisoned in the Pentagon. We also get a cool Kid Vid version of Quicksilver. I love Evan Peters as Quicksilver in this movie. He has that time in a bottle scene that is just pure classic X-Men. It goes up there with the Nightcrawler White House scene in X2. Wolverine is the one that has to bring Charles Xavier back up to show him like what he could be in the future, the person he could be. I also love the stuff with Magneto. You could tell that there's still a bond of brotherhood there, and it's severed with the different pathways they've chosen to take. And I love Peter Dinklage as Bolivar Trask. Again, he looks different than X-Men The Last Stand Bolivar Trask, but what can I say? The more that's undone of that movie, the better. This really sets to course correct the series, and the X-Men series is one series that's filled with continuity error after continuity error. But I love what they do with this film. I love the design. I love seeing Storm back. Magneto, there's a touching scene where he's just like, you know, if I had a chance to do everything over again, I would stop fighting. You know, I wouldn't fight you. We wasted so many precious years fighting between one another that we really should have been on the same side. And there's a touching scene there. There's stakes involved. I love seeing Bobby, an older version of Iceman. And of course, Jean Grey and Cyclops are in here. So it's very different in the fact that, like, the Days of Future Past storyline took place in the future, but also it was set after the Dark Phoenix saga, so Cyclops left the team. Storm was a leader of the X-Men. And there's a cool theory with Hank McCoy about time travel with like a pebble being thrown into a pond, how there's a ripple effect, but eventually the current of the water corrects itself. So how much change is really going to be enough? Is the future going to be inevitable? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like Terminator 2 in that way, but I love it. There's a great theme here of switching the timeline, becoming better than they were before, and Magneto. Oh my God. Michael Fassbender is amazing as Magneto. He really stirs things up in this film. That stadium sequence is phenomenal. Just everything in this movie is what you want from an X-Men film. It really is. This is just an amazing film. Not only is a sequel to First Class, a follow-up to correct the mistakes of the original X-Men trilogy, but also on a film on its own. If you have never seen the X-Men films, I highly recommend seeing this one. And it leaves things open for new possibilities at the end. And who could forget the epilogue? Jean Grey, Scott Summers, brings a smile to your face. Even though Logan kind of undermined this ending, I still love how it wraps everything up. This could have been the last X-Men. It really could have. The performances are top-notch. The visual effects are great. The action is well done. The editing, direction, just the costumes, just everything about this is just pure, amazing X-Men. And I give it a 5 out of 5 and an A+. And I really love the inclusion of Bishop. Of course, he doesn't have that much of a large role like he did in the comic or animated series, but despite the changes, it really stands on its own, and I like how they borrow a few elements from the comics and decide to do their own story here. I love the Sentinel design and everything. And yeah, that's my thoughts on X-Men Days of Future Past. If you have never seen it or any of the X-Men films, I highly recommend it. If you have seen X-Men Days of Future Past, let me know your thoughts on the film. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think about it? And let me know what your favorite X-Men is down in the comments below. You can follow me on the Stardust app at FredFilmFanatic for more reactions. Like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell for more notifications. Here's a couple of more videos you can enjoy on my channel. Till next time.